Join me for today's video where we're talking about the skills you need to learn before you start your own homestead. Hi, my name's Melina and welcome to my channel, Homesteading Farm Life. Our videos are all about homesteading, our 40-acre farm, and our animals. Follow our journey and learn how to homestead on your farm or in your backyard. Be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link below. No matter what part of the homesteading process you're in, before you begin and actually move onto your property and decide to homestead full-time, you really need to hone some skills. Today, let's go over my tips and tricks I have for you and skills that you should hone prior to starting your own homesteading farm. A big part of homesteading is growing your own food. Well, that takes practice. You can't just go out to a plot of land, till it up, throw some seeds in and hope they grow. Well, I mean, you can, but you're not going to be very successful. So my tip to you about gardening is to start small. Get some 5-gallon buckets, some empty cat food cans, some empty yogurt containers, and use those to start your seeds, grow your larger vegetables in your 5-gallon bucket, and have a little container garden. Get your hands in the dirt. The best way for you to learn is by getting your hands dirty. You're going to learn what size container, your plants need. You're going to learn what kind of water schedule they need, how much sunlight, how much shade. You're going to learn, if you're planting them in the ground, you're going to figure out how not to overcrowd because you're going to have that experience. I can tell you, plant your plants 2 to 4 inches apart for radishes, or I can tell you to put your corn, a foot apart in a certain design so that way it gets fertilized, and you're going to follow those tips and tricks. But until you've actually done it yourself, you really haven't learned the process. You're going to get your hands dirty, you're going to grow your own food, and that takes learning, time, and patience. While talking about food, another tip I have for you is to start foraging. Start using your environment or get some books on the types of things you can forage in your area. Start learning all about foraging. We have 40 acres and we have so much. The earth has given us plenty of nutrients. We have nut trees galore. Learn which trees are nut trees and how to harvest those nuts. We have so many wild mulberries and blackberries. We make jam all the time. Every summer and every spring, we're constantly making jam and making blackberry pies and figuring out ways to utilize all of this wonderful fruit that nature has given us. So learn about foraging wild berries, foraging edible flowers, and foraging all of the wonderful nut trees that nature provides us. Repurposed materials. Start thinking about ways that you can use stuff in your everyday life over again and repurpose them for different usage on your homestead. You can use cat food containers and yogurt containers in the spring to plant your seedlings. You can use cat litter containers to create nesting boxes for your hens in the chicken coop. Repurpose old tires for dust baths in your chicken coop. You can save the ashes from your fires and your fireplaces for your dust baths in your chicken coop. There's just so many things that you can do with your everyday items to repurpose them and use them for the homestead. And talking about repurposing things, that also brings me to free pallets. My suggestion to you is to start stockpiling up. You can make a whole entire chicken coop or a goat barn or a turkey roost out of free wood that you got from pallets. Start thinking of all the things you can do on your homestead, from pallets, reclaimed woods, and reclaimed materials. Getting all of this free stuff like pallets or materials that you can use around your homestead to repurpose brings me to my next tip for you, which is carpentry. Start honing your carpentry skills. Sometimes we know absolutely nothing and sometimes we know a lot. And if we know a lot, that's really good. But if you're like me and you really have no clue how to handle a chainsaw or a saw or make anything from scratch, then now's the time to learn. Before you start your homestead, you really need to hone these skills. You're going to be creating things all the time that you need to survive and to live and to make your animals and yourself happy and comfortable on your homestead. Start small. Make something that you think is simple and easy to make. A birdhouse. Make a birdhouse out of some wood and then go a little bit bigger. Make an end table for next to your couch in the living room. Whatever you do, pick a starting point. Pick a few projects that get gradually larger and a little more sophisticated so you can hone your skills and learn how to do carpentry so you can repurpose old, reuse, and material that other people would normally throw away on your own homestead. Let's talk about cooking from scratch. What are the vegetables and fruits and all of the things that you're growing in your garden? Decide what those items are and then research how to can them, ferment them, cook them, make them last longer. Start researching about all the different recipes and foods that you can make easily using the items directly from your garden. Some easy made from scratch foods that I make are spaghetti sauce, bone broth, mashed potatoes, salsa, pickles, sauerkraut, canned or spiced apples, pears, peaches, pickles, French fries. You're going to want to create things from your garden that will replace your store-bought items. Our goal as homesteaders for having a garden and providing food for our family is to rely less on grocery stores and fast food chains. So learn how to utilize the food you're growing in the best way possible. Talking about grocery stores, something else you can do is make your own bread. It's going to be cheaper than going to the grocery store, and it's sure going to be a heck of a lot healthier for you and your family. You can start learning how to make your own bread right now, whether you're living on your homestead, thinking about homesteading, or looking right now to purchase one. Just get in your kitchen, get your hands all floury and doughy, and start figuring out what yeast is, how it works, how to make bread, what kinds of breads you like, so that way you can have a handle and a grasp on homesteading life. If you've decided to raise animals on your homestead, you should figure out how to utilize the products that they give you. Are you going to make soap and cheese and milk from your goats or your cows? Research a few recipes and figure out what works best for you and your family. Remember, the goal is to replace those items that you purchase all the time at the grocery store and become more self-sufficient on your surroundings and your homestead. And talking about animals, you might not have made the decision whether or not to raise livestock or chickens on your farm. And you really need to do a lot of research. Decide if having cows and goats and chickens and horses and whatever else, peacocks you want, llamas, alpacas, out on your homestead. Decide what's right for you and your family and your environment. Not all the animals can survive out in the cold, and sometimes it takes more to keep animals warm and safe throughout the colder months than it really is worth. You're just spending more money taking care of them than the things that you're getting back from them for your homestead. After you've decided the animals that are right for your homestead and that your environment is correct for these types of animals, I would start researching all of the different things you can do with them. Where's your closest butcher for your cows or your chickens, your turkeys, if you don't want to butcher them yourselves? Or start figuring out where you can go to have classes or videos on how to butcher these animals so that way you can be more self-sufficient on your homestead. Are you going to get a rooster for your chickens? Are you going to try to make baby chicks so that way you have an ever-plenishing amount of chickens on your farm for you to get eggs from and fresh meat? Or are you just interested in raising your chickens for the eggs? You just need to figure out what is right for your family. Are you going to want to wake up to cock-a-doodle-doo all the time? Or are you more interested in just having eggs to feed your family every morning? My suggestion to you is keep as many different types of animals as you want. Keep all the animals, but do the research first. Make sure you have the proper shelter, food, and you meet all the requirements so that way you can fulfill their needs as fantastically awesome homesteading animal parents. Before you start your homestead, learn how to ferment and can your food. Knowing how to properly use the food that you're bringing into your home and you're growing and you're raising on your farm is going to make a huge difference and will help you in your goal of becoming a homesteader. Properly canning and fermenting the things you grow throughout the warmer months will ensure that you make less trips or no trips to the grocery store. Personally, I really think it's awesome that you're interested in starting a homestead. You really need to start off by deciding how self-sufficient you want to be. Are you going to live completely off the grid? Are you going to have electricity? Are you going to eliminate trash, or are you going to have a trash service and recycling service? How are you going to heat your home? Are you going to use geothermal? Are you going to use solar? Is it just going to be wood from your property and a fireplace? Are you interested in growing your own food? Will you raise animals? Set your goals now so that way you know what you need to do to prepare to be a very successful homesteader. Share your thoughts with me. What are some additional tips or tricks or skills that you think you need or other people need to hone before they start their own homesteading farm? Thank you for watching today's video on homesteading farm life. Please share this video with your friends and click that thumbs up button below. If you're interested in homesteading and farming, why don't you join our journey by clicking the subscribe button and then choosing the little bell icon so you never miss a video. Maybe you're interested in more than just watching homesteading videos. Maybe you want to make some homesteading friends. Why don't you join me on Facebook in my homesteading Facebook group? I will include a link to the group down in the video description.